Good morning. How's it going? Everything working? I have to check now, make sure I'm not muted. Welcome. My name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And welcome to the Tuesday stream. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. How's it going? Yeah, on this channel, we just practice HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Don't read into it. I don't have anything against frameworks and libraries. I just like practicing the basics. That's all that I'm here to do. And yeah, I guess I can only speak for myself. In the year and a half or so that I've been doing this, my skills, especially my vanilla CSS, has improved wildly. Now it's time for my vanilla JavaScript to also improve wildly. So, what are we working on today? Well, we've been working on this project. Today is, I think, part 7 of this project. This is, let me pull up the original here so you can see it. If you're new here, if you're not sure what we're doing, this is a design that I made back in 2014. When I was a brand new developer. I was living in San Diego, California at the time. I had my first job as a front-end developer, and I was kind of trying to figure out what my own style was. And I've always wanted to be, I think, much better at design than I actually am. Design is as hard. I think JavaScript's hard, has been for me. I think design is also really, really hard. I clearly was looking for my aesthetic when I built this. I think my design aesthetic these days is pretty minimal, but I had forgotten that I even ever did this. And a couple of weeks ago, I was looking through some old files, doing a little digital declutter, and I came across this and I was like, yes, I want to build this. So here we are, we're building it. We're also building out inner pages, and we're at the tail end of this project. So here's what we have so far. And I do have a QA list of some tweaks and modifications that I would like to make. We're also going to work on the About page today, including maybe a little bit of video editing. And we're going to upload a vertical video to Vimeo and do like an iframe, vertical video iframe, which I've never done before, but ChatGPT tells me we can absolutely do. We're also going to finish working on the menu. So we worked on the menu on Sunday this week. Oh, one moment. Hold, please. When I take myself off camera, it's because I need to blow my chronically runny nose, and I don't like to do that if I don't have to. The problem with that is, and this has only been happening in the last couple of weeks, I'm constantly forgetting that I muted myself. So, but you know what? You know why that's not as tragic as it could be? It's because we have Go Elmo, formerly Go Elmo Go, currently Malik Robinson, in the chat to remind me that I am muted. And we love him for that. Welcome, Malik. He is one of the moderators. We love him. Also, a budding front-end developer who starts his first internship on February 9th at an organization in Florida, which is where he lives. And we're so excited for him. I am very excited for him. I've seen his work. He's going to be great. He's just going to be great. He's going to go from internship to junior developer. He's just going to move. I predict that he is going to have a fruitful career as a developer. Very, very bright. So thank you, Malik, for being here. We are obviously happy to have you. So, you know what? I would just like to have a nice chill day. That's kind of the direction that this The chat can go one of two ways. The chat can either be, depending on who's here, like extremely lively, lots of questions, or it can be kind of chill. I'm kind of aiming for a chill day, but obviously there are people also that I love in the chat that just come with lots and lots of questions, and I do love that too. But I have to admit, I'm kind of in a chill mood today, so that's the vibe that I'm going for. And you know, the whole point of streaming is, well, first of all, it is educational because I have a lot of experience. I've been a front end developer for 12 and a half, almost 13 years now. I've had a great career, which makes it sound like I don't have a career anymore. I absolutely do. I have a great career. I love what I do. I love doing educational content, especially on YouTube. I like having an audience who cares and wants to learn, but also this is my time to practice. So the live streams are part educational, but also part my practice time where I invite you to hang out and watch me. There are going to be situations, especially if you have a little more experience than I do, where I might do something different, and that's okay. So doesn't make it wrong, just means I might have a different approach. But also there have been many, many, many times where the chat taught me something that I didn't know, and we love that too. So, okay. I really want to wrap up this menu today. I also have a QA list of things that I kind of was noticing over the last day or two. I think we need to make the logo linked in the header. So, and obviously linked back to the root domain or the home page. I think we need a dynamic copyright date. I also recall that in the CSS, this is right justified, but then on mobile it's center justified. And I think that we should just make it, let's see, it's still right justified. There, now it's probably centered. I think it could just be centered. I don't think it has to be permanently right justified. What else here? Oh, I wanted to do a new map for the footer. So this is a map of San Diego, or more specifically, La Mesa, California, which is where I lived when I did this design. You know what I would actually like to do? Because this is a fictional coffee shop. Hang on here one second. I need to do this in a way that doesn't actually show my location. Let me see here. Yeah. So here's what I want to do. I want to do a Google map that it's not going to be obvious. I'm going to do a Google map for this place that I loved when I lived in San Diego, which is called Los Titos Mexican food. Best Mexican food you will ever have. So we're going to do a new Google map, and this is going to be the location on the Google map because they deserve it. And this is a fictional coffee shop. It's not real. So we can link it back to anything that we want. Oh, I wanted to add a border to the boxes around the inner page title. So, and along with the map, I think that we need to, this is a good example. I think we need to do some media queries to adjust the aspect ratio. Like this has a lot of white space when we're in this sort of 2x2 grid. But then we get down, and honestly, we don't need this to be a big, huge square. So let's write maybe just one or two media queries. We'll write one or two media queries just to sort of adjust the aspect ratio of this image on mobile. And then I want to adjust the padding on the home page. So right now, and it's actually really the gap. So this gap is 4 rems on the home page, and it matches in the footer. There's something about this border on these boxes or content areas. I love the border. We're going to add the border to the inner pages. However, this feels like it's just got a little too much space, and these are a little too squished. And I think so you can see there it goes from 4 to 2 rems of gap, and that's at 1400. So we did a media query for 1400 pixels. And this is even still a little too squished because this border added, we already have 2 rems of padding going all the way around, and I want to keep that padding, but this border, which I think is 10 pixels, added to that, and it's making things a little more squished. And we added this border like a few days after we styled all of this. So let's just tweak this a little bit. Let's make some adjustments here so it's a little more comfortable. That's okay. The font sizes go down there, so I think even this is okay. And then we stack at 600 pixels. So we'll adjust that a little bit. And then we need to upload a video to Vimeo. I wanted the last page that we need to do today. I don't really have content ready for this. It's going to be pretty simple. I wanted to do a vertical video on the left and content on the right. And then I'll probably ask ChatGPT to write some content because we need descriptions for these inner pages. I need a description here as well. I added a coffee category and I have images, so we'll go ahead and fill in these images. I was working on this morning. I have images for everything. I'm also going to adjust the layout of the menu page. So today is definitely going to be like a QA kind of busy work, final finishing touches, putting the polish on things. Let's make sure that we check Safari and Firefox just so we're covering our bases, and then we'll take a look on mobile. I'm on an iPhone, so we'll check iOS, Chrome, and Safari. And we'll just do a little QA, and then on Thursday we'll go ahead and deploy. So that's the plan. That is the plan. High praise. Of course, always. Silence 24 hours. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Okay, let's do one thing at a time. Let's do menu, let's do home, and then we'll go to about. We're going to be all over the place today. We have a lot to do. But it's all kind of busy work. This is the type of I like days like this where you're just sort of doing busy work and you're checking things off of a list. I enjoy it. So let's fill in our images here. Now, Unsplash did not have overly specific images for these different coffee drinks. So I'm just going to put in what I downloaded and we're not going to worry too much about it. It is a fictional coffee shop. It's not that serious. So there's that. Okay, here's the menu. Let's go find, here's coffee. Okay. Cafe Americano. So here, I'll show you the pictures that I have. Okay, come on. These are the pictures that I have. I think I accidentally downloaded 2 of the same. So, and that is fine. Okay. So, Cafe Americano. I don't remember what I was thinking this should be. And you know what? I think we're just going to go in order. So if some of these drinks don't look like the thing that they're supposed to look like, I'm sorry, I just don't care. It's not a real coffee shop. Maybe I'll work on it later. I'll try to match up the picture with the drink. Honestly, my coffee order Here's why I have a hard time with this. My coffee order is black coffee with room for half and half. Oh shit. I'm not putting in the optimized images. Okay, we got to go back and work on this. So I think we just have to put in the word optimized. My coffee order is black coffee. I can't talk and work at the same time. Okay, what's going on here? Just have different pictures. Okay, so let's break these up a little bit. These. All right, we did it. Okay, a couple of these are repeated. Don't care. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my coffee order, black coffee, half and half, a little bit of sweetener. I don't care what it is. Personally, at home, I use a little liquid stevia. I'll take a Splenda. I'll take a sweet and low. I'll take a teaspoon of sugar. I don't care. Doesn't actually have to be sweet. I just need something that takes the edge off, and I'm good. Dark roast. I like a good dark roast. So, oh, we forgot one. What am I missing? I'm missing one. Which one are we missing? I think it's this one. Perfect. Perfect. And Quizera. I hope I'm saying that right. Is saying great. I don't know what you're saying great to, but I'll take it. Is it the coffee information? Is it, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's a compliment. Take the compliment, Angela. Okay. I want to adjust this layout. I was thinking after the Sunday stream, we have these two columns of competing things. I'm actually thinking now that I should let every category be on its own row, and then we can just create a grid that way. So I'm going to take this column out on the parent container, which puts all of these categories into their own half column. Let's get them all stacked in a row, and then within those rows we can build a grid on the individual items. I think that makes more sense. Let's see here. There's our navigation. This is the hero. Contact information. Here's the menu. So here's the menu grid. Don't think we need that. So now within each section, we probably want to put this, right? Which means, I think that means we're going to have to we are going to need to put a menu grid. Where's our CSS? Yeah, the menu, I think we need to put a div around the articles and move this class menu grid down. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this all in one go. I think we can do it. Oh, this is only on this parent container, and every single section is going to need. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to do div dot menu grid. And then we'll do this again. We'll say div dot menu grid. And we'll say div dot menu grid. All right, I think this is the last one. All right, and then in our styles, we're going to have to change this because we want this wrap to be 75 rems. Are we doing that anyplace else? Are we doing this anyplace else? Yes, right here. Section wrap. So do we need what's the section? I don't think I planned this very well. Don't think I planned this very well. This is a lot different than the inner pages. Section wrap H2. See, I don't want these to be inside. See, we could probably, okay, let's see if we can clean up, do a little cleanup here that makes this more efficient. Let's take out this wrap and let's just move the wrap to the inside of the div, including the menu grid. Yeah. So now, how about if we take all of these, we'll make them a wrap. So they're going to get these styles right here. They're also going to get these styles. No, they're, well, these, yep, they will get these styles. Nope, they won't, because they're not sections, they're categories. So do we need to, are we even using category as a class, or do we just want to change this to section? I don't think we're using it. So let's change this to section with a class of sections so it gets those styles. So now it's going to get these styles and these styles. And then menu grid will get the individual section styles. This is good. This is good cleanup right here. So this doesn't need this anymore. This would literally go back to display grid, template columns, repeat for, two, 1 FR, with a gap of 4 rems. We just need to center our titles. But yeah, this works. So we just need to center our titles. So I know we have a class for secondary heading plus paragraph. We may need to put, I mean, do we need to put the wrap around all of the contents in the section and then have a div just for menu grid? That might be the better approach. Yeah, that might be the better approach. Okay, let's see. No, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. I think we can do this. I think we can do this all at once. So we'll select all of these on the page. And cut those. Dot wrap. Take those. And then let's find our closing section tag, which would be right here. Highlight those. Whoops. Save. There we go. We just need to adjust some padding and spacing here. But this works. Yeah, why is there so much space there? What's going on? Oh, it's because of the gap. We don't need all that gap. Hopefully that makes sense what I just did. So we don't need this right here. We don't need the extra margin. We just need the padding. I think we can just take it out. So I do want the gap in the middle. I don't want the gap beneath. So maybe that means we just want padding on top. No. going to be right up against. I don't think there's any way for me to avoid that. What if we just reduce this gap? Oh, that looks okay. What do we think? Is this column too close? What if we just take... Should we just do this? Maybe we don't need that dividing line. Maybe we can just put a dividing line in between the individual sections. Yeah, but I do think that this is better to have each section take up its own full width row. So yeah, I think this works. We could even put, I have another idea, but I want to say hi to, I want to say hello to people. Terry Murray is here. Good morning. Better late than never. You're right on time, Terry. You're right on time. And Malik does like them being sectioned a little bit more. Yes, today is Tuesday. We are live 4 days a week now. Here, take it or leave it. Here I am. Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So thank you, Malik. Yes. So I just can't stay away. I can't stay away. So, okay, I really like this. This looks good to me. We can do a couple of things. We could put a border in between each category. I think we also have space here where we could alternate the backgrounds, and this might be a good chance for me to do what I love doing. Well, I really, really like, if we go to the contact page, I like this background, this kind of warm gray background. We could alternate backgrounds on the menu page to denote the different sections. So how would that look? How would that work? So I think we could just do, let's do this. So so if a section has a menu grid, we want to check to see if a section contains something specific to the menu page, because we're using section with a class of section on other pages. And Bakash is asking, why do you prefer HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for front end instead of React? Well, I've never used React. I've used Vue.js, and I've used Angular. I've built a couple full stack apps with Angular. I've also just worked on a couple of Angular apps. I used Vue for 7 years at my last job. That's what we used at the University of St. Thomas, and I love Vue. I also really like Angular. If I was going to choose anything moving to, like, if I needed a front-end framework for something, I think I would do Angular, because I like it. It has a very, I don't know how to describe it. It feels like a content management system to me. I don't have, that's just how it feels when I use it. I personally like it. Why do I prefer HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? I think vanilla is fun. I enjoy it. I like knowing how the browser actually works. I like understanding the browser behavior. I think frameworks and libraries are not bad. Here's why they're good. They're good when you need to have a consistent environment for big projects and many developers, right? When you're using libraries and frameworks, when you're using something like React or Tailwind, then those projects aren't left to the individual habits of the people. I mean, they are. Code is always individual to the person, but it keeps things consistent. And I think the best example of this are all of the full stack and backend developers who I've met who hate CSS and then are forced to write CSS, and how bad it looks and how much they hate it and how much they know it looks bad. How incredibly valuable is something like Bootstrap or Tailwind in those situations, in many situations? I know it's not just for those situations, but imagine a code base that is worked on by tens or dozens or maybe 100 developers over a 5-10 year period. And all of those developers, some are good at CSS, some hate CSS, all of that CSS that gets written, what a mess that would be. When you have something like Bootstrap or Tailwind, it just normalizes it. It makes it more consistent. It makes it easier. It takes out a lot of the guesswork for people who don't like to do it. So I think libraries and frameworks are important and helpful, and I understand why organizations use them and why they're important. My only point here is to show people that vanilla is still important. I believe that. If you have a desire to really understand how the browser works, if you have a desire to understand cascade and inheritance and specificity in terms of CSS, the best way to learn that is by actually doing a vanilla project. I still think vanilla is important. I still think having these core foundational skills are important, and I just enjoy it. And let's face it, there aren't that many people on YouTube doing it. Who besides Kevin Powell is writing vanilla CSS? Like who besides Kevin? I mean, I'm sure there are other people out there doing it, but it's a niche. It's a way to build an audience. It's unique. Not many people are doing it, and I happen to love it, and I still think it's important. So just because I chose to do this for my YouTube channel doesn't mean that I don't use libraries or frameworks in my other projects or in my professional life. Now, I've also been very open about the fact that I've never built a website from scratch using a CSS library. I've never built a website from scratch using Tailwind, Foundation, Bootstrap, because I've never needed to. I've been hired specifically to do jobs because I didn't rely on those things. I could write my own CSS. At my last job, honestly, if that site had been built post Tailwind, it probably would have been built with Tailwind, but it wasn't. It was built pre-Tailwind. So it was built using Sass, but Sass is like a shorthand and a compiler. It's not a library or a framework, right? And of course, Vue. We were a Vue organization. So does that make sense? I'm not anti any of those things. I just happen to enjoy this and I think it's important. That's all. So I don't think that, I mean, it depends on what you're building. I think of the things that I built with Vue. Some things I was like, why do we need Vue for this? Other things I was like, oh, Vue's perfect for this. Depends on what you're building. Depends on what you got going on. Depends on what the goal of the organization is. Also, honestly, you need to take into account when you're choosing the tools that you use, how those sites and apps are going to be maintained moving forward. How is the content going to get updated? What's the organization's goals and plans for maintenance and security and all of those things moving forward? You have to take those things into account. If you're not, you don't have enough experience yet as a developer to say things like, you should only be using React. And I'm not implying that that's what you're saying. That's not how I'm reading this question. But I have run into developers who say you should only be using React and Tailwind, and that's wrong. That's not correct, because The project and the organization and the infrastructure are what determined the tools that you use. Those are the things that determine those decisions. And sometimes the way those decisions get made are the person who is writing the check, the person who's paying you, tells you what to use. And then you use that. And it doesn't matter what you think anymore. You do what you're asked to do. There's that too. I've been in that situation many times. The person writing the check tells me what to do and I do it. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, it's not a live stream without me ranting about frameworks and libraries, right? So, one moment. Hold, please. All right. And Rahul is here. Welcome. Rahul is also a mod in the chat. Welcome. I'm glad you could come and hang out with us today. Rahul's in Nepal and it's like 11:20 at night. So it's past his bedtime. Well, listen, 11:20 is past my bedtime. So I assume it's past everybody's bedtime. So it's late. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so it wouldn't be a stream if I wasn't ranting about libraries and frameworks, would it? Okay. Here we go. So here's what I want to do. I want to check if a section has the class menu grid, and if it does, section has menu grid. So if that section has a menu grid, it's like a little way to do an if statement with CSS. I want to do, actually, can we chain these together? Can I do an nth of type? I want to do nth of type even, because I want it to, yeah, nth of type even. I think this will work. And then let's do background color, our light gray color. Is that gonna work? Boom. I love it. It just breaks up those menu items. Let's make this a little bigger. I love it. There's so much more that we could do with this page. I know it's a little boring. I know that the images are kind of basic. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. We basically designed these inner pages on the fly, and I think it's fine, and I'm good with this. So thank you. I think it's turning out really well. I'm really pleased with it. When I decided to do this design, I was not initially planning to do these inner pages. That was kind of a last minute decision. So I'm good with this. I'm good with this. I think this is a nice little coffee shop website. Okay, so let's give these boxes the same border that we gave our, let me see here. I think it was like a 10 pixel border. Yeah. So let's give those boxes this border. Where is that? I think it is, where are you? It's this it's this wrap right here. So it's the hero, there's the figure, it's the wrap. This. There we go. Ooh, that looks so much better. That really makes it look nice. Gives it just a little bit of polish. Beautiful. Okay, so as far as well, we haven't made this responsive yet, have we? Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is just make sure, I think it was menu grid right here. I think the last thing that we need to do is just make sure that this is responsive. Well, I mean, I don't know. Does it have the old styles? Yeah, I guess it does. Does it hold up longer than 1024? Let's look at this media query. So the media query right now is 1024. Let's see if we can. This holds up a lot longer. I mean, I think that at 1024 we could adjust. I think at 1024 we could adjust the gap. So let's do that. Let's change the gap to 2 rems. And then what if we just change this to 768, which is like iPad mini size. So there's 2. Yeah, that's a nice change. And then I think that's good right there. Oh, but we have a lot. What's happening here on the sides? Okay, so this menu grid is getting a lot of pad. Oh, we can take that padding out for 7 right here. We don't need that. There we go. That's a lot. Why does it have so much space? Is it the paragraph? Oh, why does it have so much space? It's the margin on the paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to take out this margin also. Right here. Honestly, it's minimal adjustments that we're having to make here. Why do we still have so much space there? Oh, why do we still have margin here? Content wrap P. 572. Oh, because it's the desktop version. Okay. Okay, better. So I think this needs to happen sooner. Some of these things need to happen sooner. Some of these things still need to happen at 1024. This I want to happen at 768. This I do want to happen at 10:24. Yeah, I think this would work too. Yeah, that would definitely work. Emilio is here. Welcome. Lurk away, my friend. Yes, we are having a chill day. So Emilio is also in the Midwest. He's in Nebraska. We are having, okay, can I please just, can we talk about the temperature right now? St. Paul, Minnesota temp. Oh, it's 7. Okay, the temp went up. It was 5 below this morning when Heidi got up. Heidi and I got up for our morning walk. We've been out twice so far. It's so cold. It's really cold. But it is sunny and it is dry. So that really helps. And it's not super windy. So hope you're staying warm. Hope everybody is staying warm. I think, well, I don't know, Rahul. I don't know what your climate is right now in Nepal, or like if you have like live in a mild climate. Malik is in Florida, so I know that he has hot, steamy summers and he's probably enjoying the weather right now in Florida. My guess is that it's probably pretty mild. So, unless there's like a bunch of rain or something, I'm not really sure. But it's really cold right now in the Midwest. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's part of the reason why I just want to have like a calm, relaxing stream. Oh, and Terry's here. Terry's in Canada where it's also incredibly cold. And I think he just had a snowstorm this weekend in Toronto and it was like 9 degrees. So, yeah, we're all feeling it, man. Okay, I think this is looking great. I am very happy with this. Oh, it's 44 degrees Fahrenheit. I love that. I think that's good weather. I mean, do you enjoy, tell me, Rahul, do you enjoy that weather? I think 44 degrees Fahrenheit is very mild and very comfortable, in my opinion. What? It's 21 in Lincoln, Nebraska? How did that happen? You're only like 2 states away from me. I could drive to Lincoln in a day. No problem. I have driven to Lincoln in a day. 21 sounds magical. I would take 21. I would take 21. So, okay. All right. So I'm done with the menu. I'm done fussing with the menu. We are responsive. We have a good separation in between the categories of items. I'm happy with this. I do need to have ChatGPT help with a little bit more page content, but overall we're good to go. Okay, so let's go back to our QA list. What do we want to do next? So this is done. Let's make the logo linked to the root homepage, which means we're going to have to do this on every page. That is fine. So we need the about page, we need the contact page, we need the menu page, and we need the home page. So we'll start with the home page. And we're just going to say, well, this is the root, but if we do this, it won't work on, if we do this, it won't work on GitHub pages. So I think we need to do this, which is the root of the current directory, right? So let's just make sure this works, and then we'll probably have to do some styling. Yeah, because it's styled right now like a link. So I think this works. And Malik says, been in the 30s in the morning and then goes up to like 60s and 70s by midday. Malik, you must be dying in the 30s. I mean, I don't know, like if you've lived in Florida your whole life, you must, the 30s to me sounds amazing. I would love the 30s, but to somebody who doesn't experience weather like that, it must be awful. I think it sounds great though. Bakash, why are my messages deleting? Well, if you're using any words or if you're using links, then those things are blocked from the chat. So, I'm building a website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, some mini stuff. Can you review just learning web development? So, I do offer code reviews. If you want to check, the description, I have a link to my website where I offer code reviews, and you can look that over and decide for yourself if you want to schedule some time for a code review. So I'll let you take a look at that. But yeah, I do offer code reviews. Oh, and Malik says, I love it. I'm originally from Virginia. I like the cold more. How cold does it get in Virginia, though? Because I think of Virginia as being fairly mild. Mild is a relative term because don't forget, I'm from Minnesota. I'm on the Canadian border practically. So, I think of Virginia as being pretty mild. But I could see how if you were from Virginia, the 30s would probably feel pretty good. So, oh, thank you, Emilio. Yep, I do have a link on my website for code reviews. So I'll let you check that out. And if you want to schedule some time for code review, let me know. So, okay, so I think that this is working. So this is exactly what we want to do on the rest of our inner pages. And then this would be ... to go up one directory. And then this would also be ... And this would also be ... So there's our home. Here's the about. Also goes to the home page. Hopefully you can see it down there in the corner. That works. Also works. Okay, good. Let's style that because it's a link now. So let's look for our primary logo right here. We're going to style, the color should be styling the anchor itself. And this still has an underline. You can't see it there, but we're going to take that out. And I'm just going to say text decoration, none. You know, here's another thing that I want to, let's read up on something else here, because I feel like logos have a different set of rules when it comes to accessibility. Not that I am trying to avoid following the rules. I'm not. But I think logos have a different set of rules when it comes to accessibility. So let's ask our friend ChatGPT. And as usual, I am always prepared to be wrong. And sometimes I am. So do logos, even text-based logos, have different rules for accessibility when it comes to color, contrast, or hover and focus states, etc. I'm not trying to avoid those rules. I'm just asking if they exist? Short answer, yes. Logos are treated a little differently in accessibility guidelines, but the difference is narrower than people think. Here's the clean breakdown without loopholes or hand waving. Color contrast rules and logos. Under WCAG, logos fall into a special category called incidental text. What that means: text inside a logo does not have to meet the 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio. That's the AA standard. This applies whether the logo is an image, SVG text, pure CSS text style to look like a logo. So we're number 3. So if your brand word mark is light gray on white and doesn't hit contrast, that alone is not a WCAG violation. Why this exception exists: logos are considered branding, not primary content. Forcing contrast compliance would effectively force brand redesigns. WCAG prioritizes understanding and functionality, not brand purity. That said, when the exception stops applying, the moment a logo is doing more than branding, it stops being exempt. The logo must meet contrast if it conveys essential information. It's the only place that text appears. It's being used like a heading or label, not branding. For example, a pale logo that says admin dashboard, where that's the only page title, a logo that includes critical status text like beta or airfare. In those cases, it's no longer just a logo, it's content. Hover and focus states. This is the big one people miss. Even though contrast rules are relaxed for logos, interactive behavior is not. If the logo is a link, for example, a home link, okay, it's like ChatGPT knows me so well at this point. You must provide a visible focus indicator for keyboard users, which we have. There's a visible focus indicator there, right? We got the blue box. A hover focus state that does not rely on color alone. Interesting. So maybe we could do a hover state. We could do text decoration. We could do a hover state with text decoration and a line. You do not need to change the logo's colors. Make the logo itself meet text contrast rules. But you do need something like outline, underline, background change, box shadow, any clear non-color cue. If the logo is clickable and has no visible focus state, that is an accessibility failure. Text-based logos built with real text. This is where people get tripped up. If it's visually a logo but technically text, WCAG still treats it as a logo, not body text. So, no, it doesn't suddenly inherit 4.5 to 1 requirements. Yes, the exemption still applies. However, screen readers will read it as text. You should not hide or alter it in any way that breaks its name. Avoid ARIA hidden true unless there is another accessible name present. What you should still do, best practice, not loopholes. Even though the rules are relaxed, good teams still ensure logos are reasonably visible. Avoid extremely low contrast unless the brand absolutely requires it. Provide a strong focus ring on the logo link. Use alt text that matches the brand name, not logo. That doesn't apply. It's not an image in our case. Accessibility isn't about squeezing through exceptions. It's about not blocking people. The honest takeaway: yes, logos have an explicit WCAG exception. No, that exception does not cover interaction. No, you can't use "it's a logo" to dodge usability. You're asking the right question. This is one of those areas where people either overcorrect, logos must meet everything, or undercorrect, logos don't matter at all. Both are wrong. Okay, so let's add a hover. We've got a focus state. Let's add a hover. I know that there's still an issue on some inner pages where on mobile, the image changes and it's not quite accessible with contrast. I'm still thinking about putting a background in the header, but I'm not there yet. I need a little more time to think about that because it really changes the design. And I acknowledge that in 2014 I wasn't thinking about accessibility at all compared to now. So I just need another day or so to think about it. So, and I wanted to ask that question and I wanted us to sort of get that clarity together. So for now, this is a link. Let's go ahead and put a hover state on it where we see this text decoration. So I think we're going to want to, let's just borrow some of our styles here. I'm going to copy this. So let's, we can actually use all of this. And then we just have to update the color. Primary logo, anchor element. So we would want this to be light gray. And no, we would want this to be transparent, and then on hover it would be light gray. There we go. So we have a hover state and we have a focus. So give me another day or two to think about putting a color in the background. Not there yet. So, and Rahul is, oh good, we're getting some information about Nepal. You would love it here, but for us it is cold. Maybe because you live where temperatures drop significantly. We have 3 geographical regions. Interesting. I think of Nepal and I just think Mount Everest. Am I thinking about the correct part of the world? And temperatures differ because of that. So is one of the regions you're talking about like, sorry, I've watched a lot of documentaries on YouTube about Mount Everest. I'm not like a sports outdoorsy type person at all, but I am fascinated by like sports and team psychology. I just find it very interesting. And there's something about the psychology of people who like mountain climbing that I find interesting. And there's no shortage of content on YouTube or anywhere really about Mount Everest. So I don't know. I've just watched a lot of that lately. So that's why I bring that up. Anyways, okay. This is done. So we are done with this. Let's adjust the padding on the home page. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. I know we've adjusted this a couple of times. We're going to adjust it again. So, where's our hero? So right now, this is 4 rems. I'm actually going to take this down to 2. I think that looks a little more, I think that looks a little nicer, but I'm going to keep 4 in the footer. I don't feel this deep desire to have those match anymore. So I'm going to keep 4 in the footer. And then let's just adjust our media queries a little bit. So I feel like since we changed this to 2, we don't need this. And then what did we say? At 1200, we changed the gap to 1. I don't know. Did we say that? Or no, I think I was talking about changing the grid. So the grid changes at 1200, but I think the grid needs to change at 1400. So let's take, well, I mean, so maybe this whole thing needs to change at 1400. Yeah. But not this. I can see now where we might want to clamp the padding. Is that too aggressive? There, that feels very comfortable to me. This feels much simpler. Oh, and we still, wait, what's happening up here with our text decoration? That's supposed to be transparent. Why is there still text decoration there? It's the text shadow. Interesting. So the text shadow means the underline also has a shadow. That's weird. Okay. So let's just do right here. This is the text shadow. Okay. Okay, I have to think about this. I want the text shadow. But not on the underline. that's weird. Okay, hang on. MDN. Text shadow. And Rahul says, you are right. Home to Mount Everest and 8 of the world's tallest peaks. Also the birthplace of Buddha. It's a beautiful country, but yes, this reminds me of a movie. But I don't remember if it was Bill Murray movies. Hang on. Hang on. It's like from the 70s. Hang on. See all. We gotta go way back here. The Razor's Edge, 1984. This is this movie where he... Is it... Yeah, he goes to Nepal. So this is this movie that takes place like during World War I. It's a love story. It's very sweet. I want to tell you I'm the type of person that hates love stories, but the truth is I absolutely love them, especially a really good one. And this is a good one. And he falls in love with this woman, and then it's just like this very tragic ending. And he goes to Nepal to like find himself and to like just reflect on his life. And he's a veteran of World War I in Europe, and that was really traumatic for him. And I don't know, it was just really, really good. So I saw this movie, I think, for the first time maybe a year or two ago. It's really good. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. It's called The Razor's Edge, but it made Nepal look beautiful. It just made Nepal look very beautiful. So I don't know. So every time I think of Nepal, I think of Mount Everest, and I think of this movie with Bill Murray. And he's a comedian, but he's also like, he's pretty thoughtful. There's lots of movies he's been in where he's like extremely thoughtful. And yeah, I don't know, this is just a really good one. I would highly recommend this. It's called The Razor's Edge. It's very, very sweet. So there's that. Okay, I just had to share that. So yeah, Lost in Translation, I mean, I've seen that movie, but it didn't speak to me as much. Yeah, I didn't, it didn't speak to me. It didn't speak, that movie, I kind of didn't get it. I didn't feel like I was cool enough to understand or like really connect with Lost in Translation. So, I don't know. If you liked that movie, let me know. Let me know if you liked that movie. It wasn't my thing. So, but I have seen it. Okay, text shadow. So is there like a text underline? So there's text transform. Text underline offset, text underline position, text underline style is there like a text underline style? Yeah, text wrap style. I think that I have to take the text shadow off of the logo. Yeah, I think I have to take the text shadow off of the logo. So that's fine. We'll just go with this. I mean, watch it. Watch Lost in Translation. See if you... I would actually watch it and tell me if you understand it. And if you understand it, explain it to me. Tell me what I'm missing about that movie, okay? Because I didn't get it. Some movies I just don't feel like I'm cool enough to like understand or really connect with. And that movie was a big deal when it came out. Everybody was talking about that movie. So, and Rahul says Nepal is featured in lots of movies. If you don't know, it's located between India and China. It's landlocked. India and Nepal's culture are very similar. Gurkhas are Nepalese, if you know about them. I don't know about Gurkhas. And Silence24 is redirecting me back to the project, which I appreciate. Can you use a border bottom instead of a text underline if that's helpful? Yeah, I definitely can. I'm actually just choosing to move on. I'm making the choice to move on, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that the text shadow wasn't as important. So that's kind of my executive, albeit maybe slightly lazy take on the situation. So, and Caffeine Cowboy says, looking at a CSS file this long gives me anxiety. Totally fair. Have you ever used layers to break up these into intimidatingly long or large files? I haven't. I've read about layers. I haven't taken the time to learn layers well enough to implement them. That's my best answer to that. I will also be just honest with you and tell you that a file of this size doesn't bother me. I've seen much longer. I mean, we have 732 lines. I've worked on CSS files that had tens of thousands of lines of CSS. So this doesn't bother me too much. Here's what I do that sort of reduces my anxiety. I have a system for how I deal with these things, which is that I tend to structure my CSS files in the order of the page. So at the top, you're always going to see like some styles and some global styles, right? And then I try to be really good about putting a heading before each section. And then I have a set of media queries that are just for that section. So the header is always going to have its own media queries if there are any. The navigation is always going to have its own media queries. Things like that. So things tend to get structured that way. I also, instead of just scrolling through looking for things, I'll just search. So if I need to find my section, I'm just going to search until I find it. If I need to find my hero, I'll just search until I find it. I'm pretty comfortable with this method. I have a lot of practice though. I've been doing it a long time, so I don't get a lot of anxiety from files of this size. I could definitely see where that could happen. I think also if this type of file structure is uncomfortable for you, think about using Sass. Because with Sass, you could break up these sections. If we were using sections, all of these things would have their own style sheet, which is a very manageable way of doing things. The only reason when I started this channel, I was using Sass for everything and I decided to go vanilla. And I will admit that is one of the drawbacks of doing all vanilla. Unless you want to put multiple HTTP requests and do multiple links to multiple style sheets, which I don't think is an efficient way to do things. I would take a long tens of thousands of lines of CSS before I linked multiple style sheets. So think about using Sass or less. I think Sass is probably a little more similar because with Sass you can still write vanilla CSS, but you can organize your style sheets and import and compile everything into one. So yeah, so there's that. So and I think we're talking about Lost in Translation. Yeah, it was the mid 2000s. Bill Murray and I think Scarlett Johansson. They were living in Japan, right? Yeah, Lost in Translation. So, no one is here. Welcome, no one. Welcome to the party. We are doing well. How are you doing? Glad you could join us. So, okay, where were we? Okay, I'm happy with this. I'm happy. This is my final decision now on these boxes and the spacing on the home page. I'm happy with how this looks. And we're going to go with what's happening here. And let's make sure that this is working on all of our inner pages. Yes. Okay. Done and done. Okay. And we need a dynamic copyright. That should be easy enough. So we'll just say function copyright. And let's close some of these. I'm going to close. Here's the menu. Here's the home page. Here's the about page. Oh, we haven't even gotten to our about page yet. I don't know if we're gonna, we'll see how it goes. If we have to do the about page on Thursday, that's fine. Let's see if we can at least get a video uploaded to Vimeo today. Okay. So here's our copyright. So here's the date. Date equals document get element by ID date, and then we need our year, new date, get full year, and then we'll just say if date. So if that span exists, the date is equal to date, text content is equal to the year. And then we'll put this down here. There we go. And then let's center that for desktop. Primary logo, this must be it right here. So I think we just want this centered, and then I'm pretty sure that we had a media query where we centered that, so we can just take this out of the media query. It could just be centered all the time. There we go. So let's check our inner pages. Yes. Yes. Oh, one moment. And Malik is dipping out early. Has errands. Yes, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And Rahul says, if you'd like to learn more, I recommend checking out the YouTube video titled Nepal, the Most Impossible Country on Earth. This one right here, I will absolutely check this out. Nice. Always looking for something new to watch. So this looks like the Southwest, like the American Southwest and the Rocky Mountains. It looks a little Grand Canyon-ish just from these quick views. So yeah, I will definitely watch that. We love a good documentary. All right. I think these are all working. Okay, what's next? I think I just want a new map for the footer. And then we'll do some QA testing. Let's work on the About page on Thursday. Let's see here. So let's do share. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Well, let's do share. Let's just do an image again. I'm going to copy the link. And let's just do this. And then let's adjust the aspect ratio. And we'll just do this, right? Here. Boom. And then let's put that in our project folder. Swap out the current image that we have. So this is our La Mesa, California map. Projects. Coffee. Images. Oops. Hang on. That's not what I meant to do. Copy. So that should be an updated map. Yep, that's an updated map. Oh no, that's the screenshot. Hang on. There we go. Here's the updated map. Clearly, this needs better styling. Doesn't that have an object fit? It's very squished. Object position. This should be object fit. There we go. And also, let's link that. And we'll do a nice little hover transition. So this is object fit. So that was an error. And then let's just do, we can just do like a nice simple hover. It's not a UI element. Well, actually, no, it would, I do want to make it a UI element because I want to link it to the link, which is what you would do. So inside the figure tag, we'll do an anchor element. We can get our link. we'll have this open in a new window. And we'll want to make this anchor element a block level element. So let's just give it a class of map. Because we made our images block level elements, we'll also want to make this a block level element. So now when people click on this, we'll do a nice hover effect with the image. And yeah, and we're changing the container here. So actually we may want to put this around the figure. That might be a better approach. Then we don't have to restyle the container for the figure and the image. So yeah, we definitely need to make this a block level element. So we could do footer map. This would be display block. And we'll just make sure that everything looks okay. And now this is clearly a link. Love it. I want Los Titos to get all the credit. So now, when we hover on this, what is it? Transform scale, and we'll just say 1 for the current normal scale. And then we would do footer map hover. Well, we could do focus. Hover. Active. And then it would be transform. Scale. We could do 1.1. And then this will have to have, well, it needs to be on the, do we want to, I think we want to scale the image though. But I want the hover, I want the hover to happen. I want the trigger to be the map, which is the anchor element. So that would be, hang on. So I want this to be this. I want the trigger to be the map. And then I want figure image. And I don't think we need that. It's the only image. And then we could just do this. And then we also need to make sure that this is overflow hidden. And then I think we need to make sure that we are transitioning the transform. 300 milliseconds, ease in out. Oh, overflow hidden should go on the parent container. Right here. There we go. We could do a bigger scale. I like that. And then that opens it in a new window. And then let's just adjust the aspect ratio on mobile. So this turns into a 2x2 grid, probably at 1400, right? Nope, 1200. Let's just adjust the aspect ratio here. I'm going to guess that 4:3 would be okay. So our aspect ratio here is 1. And it changes into a grid here at 1200 pixels. So we don't need these. So 4, 2, 3. Yeah. Maybe even ooh, 2.5 is perfect. I like it. That was a good change. Okay, let's go ahead and get this pushed up to GitHub. That will deploy to our GitHub page. And then we can go ahead and we'll check Safari and Firefox. And then we'll also make sure that we check our mobile device. So we didn't get to the About page today. You know what? It's fine. We'll do it on Thursday. I'm in no hurry. I got nothing else to do. What do I have to do? So QA style changes. QA style changes update menu. All right. So where's my phone? So we'll let that deploy, and then in the meantime, let's just check our local copy in Firefox. So here's Firefox. I think everything looks great. I mean, maybe it's not the most exciting layout. It's perfectly functional. And you know, what do you expect when the developers are in charge of the design? I mean, really. I don't see anything here glaringly obvious. Generally, um, if something's going to go wrong, usually those things stick out. And I don't see anything here that's really sticking out. Let's see if Safari has any feedback for us. You know, if you were just like a small business, a little hometown bakery, coffee shop, this would be a nice little site for somebody, I think. And Amelia says, I need to get better at Git. I never use it. I am such a GUI addict. You know what, though? You just got to practice. That's all. You just got to practice. I spent many years using, what was it? Did Bitbucket used to have, I think Bitbucket, I'm sure they still do. They have a user interface. I used Bitbucket, which is the Atlassian kind of the Atlassian competitor to GitHub, right? Back in the day, because for so many years, you couldn't have private repositories on GitHub unless you paid for premium. So I used Bitbucket for a really long time, and they had a GUI. And then where did I worked someplace where I don't think I was required. I don't think anybody said you can't use a GUI. I don't know. I think it was really once I started learning like how to manage my own cloud server and I got more comfortable with Linux. That's when I really started to use Git on the terminal and get away from a GUI. So if you want more terminal practice in general, I would recommend learning to set up a cloud server. So that's how I did it. That's how I got comfortable with it. So Rahul says, good job today. Thank you. I appreciate that. No one says Git still scares me sometimes. As I work in a team, I have to merge and push in different branches. Git is difficult. Git can be difficult, yes. I think I've spent hours of my life fixing things in Git. So, yeah, I mean, that just kind of comes with the territory. It can be incredibly stressful. Oh man, I worked with a junior developer once where it was like every day I had to fix Git stuff for this person. Every day I had to fix something. Oh my gosh, it drove me mad, but it made me really good at Git. It made me really good at problem solving Git issues. So, okay, I am happy with what I see. So let's check GitHub and make sure everything got deployed, and then we will check the mobile device. And I think today was a very nice chill day where we got a lot of good little QA items done. I am very happy. Where's our site? Why can't I see it? There we go. Let's make sure everything deployed. I think so. Okay. Let's make sure. I pull up the phone. Yeah, I'm going to have to put something on that header. I like it though. And changing the markup for these different sections sort of resolved this issue of having categories too close. So I'm good with this. If anything, it might be good. It's really difficult to see here the difference in the two colors. It's very nuanced. It might be good to put a little extra space at the bottom of that section. I don't know if I'm that worried about it. But yeah, I think this looks fine. I think the footer looks good. I'm tapping. I'm tapping that map and nothing's happening. Nothing happens when I tap that map. Why? I don't know. Oh, Angela. Oh my God. We only did it on the home page. We have to do it on all the pages. That's why. Okay, hang on. Let's add that to the QA list. We'll do that. We'll do that on Thursday. Update footer map link and markup. So we'll do that first thing Thursday. And then we need to make the about page. So I think we can do the about page and fix the footer map. And if I decide to, I mean, honestly, we should just update the header to update header background color. I think we can do this and deploy on Thursday. I think we'll be fine. So, because the virtual host, it just doesn't take that long. And we've already done it, like, we've done it a couple times now. So, well, let's make sure that we can click it. There we go. I love it. I love that we're giving Los Titos the attention it deserves. Love that. And then we have to make sure that we test our form again on Thursday after we get everything deployed. So, all right. I love it. Well, you know what? We still have a few minutes. I try to really get us to the 2-hour mark. I like making sure that we're at the 2-hour mark. So let's just go ahead and update the footer markup now. We're here. Let's just do it. So we need to update that on the about page, on the contact page, on the menu page. And then let's grab that from the home page. right here. So here, we just need to copy this over. Updating footer, map, markup, and link. All right. Give this a moment. Do me a favor. This is probably a good time to remind people, hey, do me a favor, like the video if you haven't yet. Helps the algorithm, helps me grow the channel, push this out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would appreciate it. Here on Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 4 days a week, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We just practice vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript just because we enjoy it, and I personally am of the opinion that vanilla is still important. Understanding the 3 things that the browser does natively, I think it still matters. I believe it still matters, and in my experience as a developer, it will still be helpful for you in your career to understand some of the basics. So there's that. Okay, so let's check and see if we can tap the map in the footer. Oh shit, I forgot to. Okay, I copied in the wrong path. It's cool. I can take care of it. We can fix it. Copied the path for the home page. So we want this to be yeah. Probably would have helped if I had done a little local QA, huh? Okay, there's our home page. There's our about page. Yes, we are linking. All right. Okay, we are deploying. I mean, it's kind of wild that the deployment takes as long as it does. I mean, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at GitHub, but when I used to deploy my enterprise level JavaScript and CSS with all those Vue components back at St. Thomas, it was a solid 3 to 4 minutes that I had to wait for that deployment to run. So it's kind of crazy to me that a static website takes almost that long. I don't know. Okay, well, it's done. So maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, let's check and see here. Okay, there we go. So we're good. There's our about page. And our menu page. Beautiful. All right. Well, there we go. That's it. That's it. That's all I got for today. Thank you, everybody who came to hang out with me. I appreciate you. Yeah, this was a good one. I like it when I can spend time getting all of the little detail busy work type things done. So we'll get that about page written on Thursday, and then we'll go ahead and do the deployment. So the deployment, we've done this before. Let me show you what we're going to do. I have to update the README for a virtual host deployment. Let's see here. So we are going to be doing, no, I don't even have a dedicated video for deployment because everything is a LAMP set up from scratch. Yeah, I need to do that too. Okay, yeah, I'm behind on a few things. My to-do list is long. So we're going to set up a virtual host. I already have a website up, or a LAMP stack deployed for a domain that says practicelayouts.com. And I am planning to build out practice layouts as kind of like this. It's kind of like not like a how-to, but just something that sort of supports my mission for the channel, which is like practicing vanilla, practicing layouts. Like if you want to be good at it, you have to practice it. And so here are some things that you could do to practice. But I'm still sort of in the planning phases. I haven't gotten past what this actually needs to be. In the meantime, I'm creating a subdomain for each of my deployed projects, each of my finished projects that we can deploy. And then we can also take a day every time we finish a project and just dedicate that day to deployment. So I love to do a LAMP stack on DigitalOcean. I have many domain names. We're going to update the DNS settings for the domain names, do a virtual host on an Apache server, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. I often use either rsync or FileZilla. Either is completely suitable. It's a completely independent process from anything that goes on at GitHub. At some point in 2026, I want us to sit down and figure out how to write a GitHub action. For now, I just tell people hey, it's an independent process. So regardless of what you're doing or how you're deploying, make sure that you're staying on top of your GitHub repo and committing your changes, because the deployment process is totally separate, whether you use rsync, if you're on a Mac, or you use FileZilla. Both are completely acceptable. One does not impact the other. So just make sure that you're staying on top of your Git commits. It'll save your ass, because here's the thing. If you're using rsync and especially FileZilla, you will overwrite something that you didn't mean to. It will happen. I guarantee you it will happen. And if you don't have multiple redundant backups, which in this case would be your local copy and a GitHub repository, you're going to be in trouble. It has happened to me more than once. So just stay on top of your Git repository. Anyways, we're going to work on that on Thursday. I love a good deployment day, but we're going to do the About page also, which I don't think will take that long. So silence for 24 hours says nice work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Everybody have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Stay warm if you're someplace that's really cold. Although it sounds like, based on feedback from the chat, I am by far living in the coldest place right now. So I'll see you all on Thursday, okay? Bye.